You ever have one of those moments where something you felt was totally solid, totally fixed, just shifts?
Oh, definitely. Like reality itself just flickers for a second.
Exactly. And it makes you question, what is actually real?
Yeah.
What's just our perception?
It's funny how concrete everything feels day to day, yet thinkers for thousands of years have pointed towards something more fluid underneath it all.
Well, that's kind of what we're diving into today. We're looking at some ancient wisdom that really digs into that question.
A different lens on existence, you could say.
Yeah. Specifically, we're exploring the Kybalion. It's this book from 1908.
That's the one, attributed to the three initiates. It's all about Hermetic philosophy, tracing back to ancient Egypt and Greece.
And it claims to offer kind of master key, right, to unlock these, well, often hidden or occult ideas.
Exactly. It tries to synthesize these different strands of wisdom, and the source it draws from is fascinating in itself, this figure, Hermes Trismegistus.
Right, the master of masters. He sounds legendary. Founder of occult wisdom, astrology, alchemy.
And deeply connected to ancient Egypt. We're talking way back, possibly predating Moses, maybe even influencing thinkers like Abraham.
Wow. So these ideas have been around for an incredibly long time.
And often kept quite secret, passed down from lip to ear, as the saying goes.
It makes you think these core concepts must have some serious staying power. So for today's deep dive, we want to get into the main principles, especially the ones that give us insights into, well, reality and our place in it. Trying to find understandings that are, simple but also really profound.
Sounds good. So let's jump into the core of it, the 7 Hermetic Principles. The Kybalion presents these as the real keys.
Okay, 7 principles. Let's start with the first one.
The principle of mentalism, it states, the all is mind, the universe is mental.
Okay, hold on. The all, that's like the ultimate reality, the source of everything.
Precisely. It's described as the underlying substantial reality, an infinite living mind.
An infinite living mind. And the universe, everything we experience, it's mental, like a creation within that mind.
That's the core idea. Think of the entire cosmos, everything in it, as a mental construct held in the consciousness of the all, like a vast cosmic thought or dream.
Wow. That really flips the script on how we usually think about things.
It does. It implies that mental and psychic phenomena aren't weird exceptions, but actually closer to the fundamental nature of reality. And it hints at the incredible power of mind itself.
Okay, that's a big one to start with. What's the second principle?
The principle of correspondence. The famous phrase here is, as above, so below, as below, so above.
I've heard that one. It always feels like it's pointing to some kind of hidden connection, right?
Exactly. It suggests there's a harmony, an analogy between the laws and phenomena on different planes of being the physical, the mental, the spiritual.
So patterns repeat. What happens on a small scale reflects the large scale.
Kind of, yeah. It means that understanding principles on one level can help you grasp things on another, seemingly disconnected level. Like how understanding basic geometry here on Earth helps astronomers measure distant stars.
Ah, I see. So observing the known can give us clues about the unknown, whether that's out in space or maybe inside our own minds.
That's the idea. The Hermetists saw it as a tool for deciphering the universe's mysteries. The universe isn't just random bits, it's unified.
Okay, principle number 3.
The principle of vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates.
This one feels pretty intuitive now with modern science, right? Everything's made of atoms constantly moving.
Yes, science definitely backs this up on the physical level, but Hermetic philosophy takes it further. It says that everything, from the densest matter to the highest spirit, is just vibration.
So the differences we perceive between things like a rock versus energy are just differences in their vibrational frequency.
Exactly. Varying rates and modes of vibration. Think about a wheel spinning. If it spins slowly, you see the wheel. Faster, it's a blur. Even faster, maybe you hear a hum, then a high note.
Okay.
Keep going, hypothetically, and the vibrations might manifest as heat, then light, then maybe even subtler energies beyond our normal senses. It's all vibration.
And this applies to our minds too. Thoughts, emotions.
That's a key part of it. Mental states have their own corresponding vibrations. Higher states, higher vibrations, lower states, lower vibrations.
Interesting. Okay, that leads into the fourth one.
The principle of polarity. This one's a bit of a mouthful. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half-truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled.
Whoa, okay, break that down. Opposites are the same.
Essentially, yes. They're just two extremes of the same thing. Think about heat and cold. Are they fundamentally different?
Well, one's the absence of the other, sort of.
Or are they just different degrees on the single scale of temperature? There's no absolute hot or absolute cold point where one stops and the other begins. It's a continuum.
Okay, I see that for temperature. What about, like, love and hate?
Same principle, according to Hermetics. They exist on a single spectrum of feeling. Light and dark, courage and fear, joy and sorrow. They're poles of the same underlying reality, differing only in degree.
And the implication is?
Mental transmutation, the art of changing your own mental states. If opposites or just degrees of the same thing, you can consciously shift your position on that spectrum. You can change your polarity.
So move from fear towards courage, for instance, by focusing on the opposite pole.
That's the potential it unlocks. Instead of being stuck at one end, you learn to navigate the spectrum.
Okay. Number 5.
The principle of rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates.
This sounds like cycles, natural cycles we see everywhere.
Precisely. Ebb and flow, day and night, seasons, economies, moods, energy levels. Everything operates in rhythms. There's always a swing back and forth.
Like a pendulum.
Exactly. And the intensity of the swing in one direction determines the intensity of the swing back in the other. Rhythm compensates.
So high highs often lead to low lows.
That's often the experience, yes. But the key here is the law of neutralization. It suggests you can learn to consciously rise above the swing of the pendulum in your own mind.
Oh.
By achieving a higher state of awareness, you're less likely to be swept away by the extremes of your moods or circumstances. You find a point of balance above the back and forth.
Like finding stillness amidst the motion. Okay, principle 6.
The principle of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law.
This feels fundamental. Order, not chaos.
Yes, it's a strong statement against randomness. Nothing just happens. There's always a cause, or usually a whole chain of causes behind every effect, even if we can't see them.
So what we call luck or chance
is simply ignorance of the underlying causes. The law is always operating. But here's the empowering part. The Hermetists believe there are different planes of causation.
Really?
Like, there's the physical plane, but also mental and spiritual planes. By operating consciously on the higher, mental plane through thought, you can actually influence the causes that play out on the lower physical plane.
Ah, so you can become more of a causer rather than just being an effect of circumstances.
That's the goal. To rise above being passively pushed around by external events and start actively shaping your experience by working with these higher laws.
Okay, that's profound. And the last one, number 7.
The principle of gender. Gender isn't everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes.
Now, we need to be clear, this isn't about biological sex, right?
Not at all.
No.
It's using gender in a much broader philosophical sense. It refers to the universal principles of active and receptive or projective and creative forces.
Masculine and feminine as universal energies.
Exactly. The masculine principle is seen as the directive force, the initiator, the yang, perhaps. It gives out, projects will. The feminine principle is the receptive, nurturing, generative force, the yin. It takes the initiative and does the creative work.
And these are in everything.
Everything, on all planes, physical, mental, spiritual. Both principles are necessary for any kind of creation to occur. And importantly, they exist within each of us, regardless of physical gender.
So within our own minds, we have this interplay, like the part of us that has ideas and directs focus, masculine, and the part that develops and brings those ideas to life, feminine.
Precisely. The Kybalion talks about the I and the me within us. The I representing the masculine aspect of being, the pure consciousness, and the me representing the feminine aspect of becoming, the mental womb where thoughts and possibilities are nurtured. Balancing these is key.
Okay, wow. Those 7 principles, they really form a whole worldview. Mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender.
They do. They interlock and support each other to paint a picture of a universe that is mental, orderly, vibrant, and ultimately understandable through these keys.
Now, there's something called the divine paradox mentioned too. How does that fit in?
Yes. This tackles an apparent contradiction. If the all is the only true reality and the universe is just a mental creation within it, is the universe real or unreal?
Right. If it's just a mental construct, does it matter?
The paradox is that it's both. In the absolute sense, compared to the all, the universe is transient, relative, like a dream. So, in a way, unreal. But in the relative sense, from our perspective living within it, its laws are binding. We have to operate according to them.
So we can't just ignore gravity because it's all in the mind.
Exactly. That's called half-wisdom, and the Kybalion warns against it. True wisdom lies in understanding the different levels. You live according to the laws of the plane you're on, but you can learn to use the higher laws like mental power, understanding polarity, to navigate and influence the lower laws.
Use the higher to overcome the lower, as one of the axioms says.
Precisely, which leads directly into mental transmutation.
Which is changing things with your mind.
Essentially, yes. It's described as the hermetic art of changing your own mental states, conditions, and potentially even influencing others by applying these principles, especially vibration and polarity.
So it's about consciously altering your mental frequency, your position on the spectrum of opposites.
That's the core of it. It's the practical application of the principles for self-mastery and transformation. This is where things like, what we might call psychic phenomena or mental science come into the Hermetic framework.
And this all happens within the context of the all, this infinite mind.
Always. The all is described as infinite, absolute, eternal, unchangeable, ultimately beyond our full comprehension. The universe is its mental creation, happening within that infinite mind.
But is the all separate from the universe or in it?
Another paradox, or rather a dual truth. The teaching is, while all is in the all, it is equally true that the all is in all. Meaning, the all isn't just some distant creator, it's also immanent, present within every part of its creation. Like Shakespeare is, in a sense, present within Hamlet. The creator permeates the creation.
So there's a spark of that infinite mind within everything, within us.
That's the core Hermetic view. And spiritual development, from this perspective, is the process of recognizing, realizing, and manifesting that spirit within you.
Like waking up to our connection to the all.
Exactly. The whole process of creation is seen as, first, involution, the all, becoming involved in creation, lowering vibration, and then evolution, which is the gradual journey back spiritward, towards greater awareness and individualization, eventually returning to the all.
That's a vast perspective. So how can we, practically apply some of this? The Kybalion offers some axioms, right?
It does. They're like concise guides for using the principles, for example, to change your mood or mental state, change your vibration.
Which connects back to the idea that our thoughts and feelings have frequencies.
And it emphasizes using your will and attention to consciously shift those frequencies. Focus on what you want to cultivate.
What else?
Another key one related to polarity. To destroy an undesirable rate of mental vibration, put into operation the principle of polarity and concentrate upon the opposite pole to that which you desire to suppress. Kill out the undesirable by changing its polarity.
So don't fight darkness, just turn on the light. Focus on courage to overcome fear. Focus on calm to overcome agitation.
That's the analogy, yes. Change the polarity. And for rhythm may be neutralized by an application of the art of polarization.
Which means using that focus on the higher pole, the desired state, to lift yourself above the pendulum swings of mood.
Right. Polarize on your higher self, your desired state of being, and you're less affected by the rhythmic ups and downs.
And cause and effect.
Nothing escapes the principle of cause and effect, but there are many planes of causation, and one may use the laws of the higher to overcome the laws of the lower.
Back to becoming the causer, using mental power.
Yes, and fundamentally, true Hermetic transmutation is a mental art. Influencing your life, your environment, starts with mastering your mind.
It all comes back to the mind, doesn't it? The principle of mentalism.
It really does seem to be the foundation upon which the other principles rest. The understanding that reality is fundamentally mental is probably the biggest takeaway.
Yeah, that and the idea that our minds aren't just passive observers, but have this incredible power to shape our experience, and that everything is interconnected within this vast mental universe.
It shifts your perspective from feeling like a victim of circumstance to potentially being a conscious creator working with these universal laws.
It really gives you a lot to think about, a different way to look at everything.
Absolutely. It's ancient wisdom that still feels incredibly relevant.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, maybe just take a moment, you listening, to let these ideas settle. Think about one of those 7 principles. Which one sort of starts something for you? Is it vibration? Thinking about your thoughts having a frequency?
Or maybe polarity, the idea that opposites are connected and you can shift between them.
Or perhaps cause and effect, and realizing you can be more of a cause in your own life.
Whichever one it is, just hold it gently in your mind for the rest of your day. Don't force it. Just
Yeah,
notice.
notice where you see it playing out in your feelings, your interactions, the events around you.
How might seeing things through that principle shift how you feel about, say, a challenge you're facing or an emotion that keeps popping up?
This isn't just about, intellectual head knowledge. The real juice is in seeing how it applies, how it feels in your own experience.
It's an invitation to experiment, to observe yourself and the world with a slightly different filter.
Allow these ancient ideas to maybe nudge your awareness a little. See what unfolds. It's a journey of discovery, really.
A journey inward towards understanding the mind, and outward towards understanding the universe, and maybe realizing they aren't so separate after all.